The Last FIREHAWK The Underland. Written by Katrina Charman. Introduction. Tag, a small barn owl, and his friend Skyla, a squirrel, have returned home to Valor Wood. 6 weeks have passed since their return from the land of the Firehawks. Tag and Skyla were made Owls of Valor after they helped to destroy the Shadow and save the land of Perodia. Now, they are training to be warriors with Maximus, the captain of the Owls of Valor. Tag and Skyla's friend Blaze has returned to the land of the Firehawks with her mother, the leader of the Firehawks. The friends can visit each other anytime because of a permanent portal between the two lands. Claw, who was once the evil vulture Thorn, is now good. He has become friends with Tag, Skyla, and Blaze. And he has been using his magic to fix all the bad things he did with the Shadow. But strange things have been happening across Perodia. The friends will need to reunite and work together before a powerful enemy returns. The adventure continues. Chapter 1. Training Time. Terra terra terra. Tag jumped out of his nest as the horns trumpeted around the forest. He grabbed his dagger and pulled on his armor. It was time for training. Skyla! Tag called up to the top branches of the tree where his best friend lived. But Skyla was already ready to go. She leaped from branch to branch, and Tag flew after her. They landed at a big tree stump in a clearing of the wood. More Owls of Valor in training flew down to join them. Everyone waited for Maximus. Tag and Skyla had been training for 6 weeks now, learning how to fight, how to sneak up on enemies, and how to use the forest's magic. Tag couldn't wait to be sent on a mission. But every time he asked Maximus or Gray, the leader of the Owls of Valor, they said he wasn't ready. A row of wooden swords lay on the ground. Tag looked at them, feeling worried. He was good with his dagger. But the swords were long and heavy, and his wings were smaller than everyone else's. Maximus flew in. Choose a weapon, he ordered. Skyla grinned at Tag. She chose the longest sword. It was taller than she was. Tag waited as the other owls chose their weapons. Then he stepped forward. He groaned. All that was left was an old, chipped sword. He lifted it with his wing. Luckily, it wasn't too heavy. Choose a partner, Maximus yelled. Swing and jab. Swing and jab. Maximus attacked a nearby tree to demonstrate. Tag looked to Skyla, but another owl had already chosen her for a partner. Tag turned to see the only young owl left. Bod. Bod was twice as big as Tag and a bully. Tag tried not to let Bod see his wings shake as he lifted his sword. Bod grinned, then swung his sword fast. He knocked Tag's sword from his wings before Tag had a chance to move. Hey! Tag grumbled. I wasn't ready yet. He bent to lift up his sword. Bod stepped forward, jabbing Tag in the back and knocking him over. Never turn your back on your enemy, Tag. Maximus shouted. Tag narrowed his eyes as Bod smirked. Tag! Skyla! Maximus called. Skyla landed beside Tag. They saluted their leader. I have some news, Maximus told them. It's time for you to go out on your first mission. Chapter 2. The Mission. Tag bounced happily. Our first mission for the Owls of Valor, he said. Where are we going? Skyla asked. Her tail curled excitedly. Fire Island? Tag said. Or maybe the Howling Caves? What about the Crystal Caverns? Asked Skyla. Are the ice leopards causing trouble? Maximus shook his head. There have been some strange reports, he said. You are to go on patrol at the edge of Valorwood with Bod and look out for anything unusual. Bod stood beside Maximus and gave Tag a small smile. Tag frowned. We don't need Bod to come with us, he moaned. Skyla crossed her arms and nodded. She didn't like Bod ever since he'd stepped on her tail the first day of training. Bod has been training for longer than you two, Maximus said. But we've been on dangerous missions, Skyla protested. We found all the pieces of the Ember Stone. And we found the land of the Firehawks, Tag said. And we stopped the shadow, Skyla added. Bod stared at Skyla. I thought your friend Blaze did all that, he said. You couldn't have done any of it without a Firehawk. Skyla growled and took a step forward, but Tag held her back. That's enough, Maximus said. You are going on this mission together. Teamwork is an important part of being an Owl of Valor. He flew off. Bod sneered at Skyla. Maybe you should stay here, he said. After all, you're not really an Owl of Valor, are you? You're just a squirrel. Skyla scowled at Bod and stomped away. Tag went after her. I wonder what strange things have been happening in the wood, he thought. Maybe this mission will lead to our next big adventure? Chapter 3. On Patrol. Tag, Skyla, and Bod began their mission as the sun set behind the trees. Tag and Bod flew through the purple-orange sky. Skyla jumped from branch to branch below. They were headed for a part of Valorwood that Tag had never been to. The ground was covered with soft green moss and small piles of soil. It looked like burrows or holes had been dug there. Skyla jumped to the ground and peered inside one of the big holes. It goes a long way down, she said, her voice echoing. She dropped an acorn into the hole. But there was no sound of it hitting the bottom. Tag and Bod landed beside her. Tag said. I wonder who made these holes. Bod gave a big yawn. Probably just moles or mice or something, he said. This is so boring. Then why don't you go home and leave the patrolling to us, Skyla snapped. Bod rolled his eyes. They walked on through the woods, looking for anything strange or unusual. Bod wandered off into the trees. But then he froze. Did you see that? He whispered. Tag peered in Bod's direction. I don't see anything, he said. The leaves rustled. Then suddenly, whoosh! Something small, gray, and very fast raced past them, almost knocking Tag over. Bod screamed and flew in the opposite direction. Bod! Tag called. We have to stay together. But Bod was gone. Tag pulled out his dagger and Skyla reached for her slingshot. They chased after the small gray creature. It's so fast, Skyla called from the trees. It is too fast for a normal animal. Tag puffed. Skyla flipped out of the tree and landed on the creature's back. It fell into the dirt face down. Gotcha, she shouted. Tag landed beside her, holding his dagger tight. Then he frowned. Skyla had just trapped a mole. It was smaller than Tag, with light gray fur and a small, twitchy tail. We are Owls of Valor, Skyla said. Did something scare you? Do you need our help? The mole turned slowly to face them. Tag and Skyla gasped and jumped back. It was no ordinary mole. It had orange eyes. Chapter 4. The Discovery. Tag! Skyla cried, gripping her slingshot. The mole has orange eyes, just like Thorn's spies. Tag took a step toward the mole. We don't want to hurt you, he said. What happened to you? But before Tag could move any closer, the mole quickly dug a new hole. Then it disappeared into it. Skyla's voice shook. The last time we saw Orange Eyes was when Thorn turned normal animals into his army of spies. But Thorn is Claw now, Tag said. And Claw is good. I know that was true. Skyla replied. But what if the shadow has returned and made him bad again? She glanced around. Where did Bod go? Tag shook his head. He ran away. What a scaredy owl. The sound of footsteps came up behind them. They were loud and heavy. And they were getting closer. Skyla grabbed Tag's wing. What if there are more moles with orange eyes, she said. There could be a whole army. Before they could hide, a large creature burst through the trees. Tag and Skyla gasped, and their eyes went as wide as the full moon. Chapter 5. Surprise Visit. Skyla dropped her slingshot. Blaze, she cried. The Firehawk gave her friends a hug, pulling them into her orange and red wings. Blaze's eyes filled with shiny tears. I need your help, she said. My mom has gone missing. I think something terrible has happened to her. Oh no! Tag said, patting Blaze's wing. What has happened to Talia? Blaze sniffled. My mom went through a portal to another land. She said she would only be gone for a few days. But she never came back, and then we got a fire message. What's a fire message? Skyla asked. It's something that firehawks can do, Blaze said. I have learned how to do it, too. You can send a message or an object to other firehawks through fire. I'll show you. Blaze waved her wing in the air. Her feathers lit up with small flames. She drew a picture of Tag and Skyla in the air. It burned in front of them for a while, then turned into black wisps of smoke and disappeared. That's a fire message, Blaze said. I've let the firehawks know that I have found you. What was Talia's message? Tag asked. Blaze pulled out a long silver feather. She sent one of her magical tail feathers. I think she needs our help. Did her message say anything? Skyla asked. Crack! There was a loud noise behind them. Tag drew his dagger. Who's there? He called. Bod crept out from the trees. Skyla put her paws on her hips and glared at him. You ran away, she cried. Owls of valor are supposed to stick together. Bod stared at the ground. When I saw the mole's orange eyes, I got scared. I thought the shadow was back. Blaze's eyes flared. The shadow? She said. Just before you arrived, we saw a mole with orange eyes. And it was fast, too fast for a normal mole, Tag told Blaze. Skyla sighed. I think we had better talk to the creature who knows the most about the shadow. Let's go and find Claw. Chapter 6. The Shadowlands.